following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
I love it when we start out laughing. Hello, everybody. My name is Christine.
Hello. I'm Jada.
This is 50 Shades of Bullshit. Yeah, you want to see my bullshit this week?
I don't even want to.
I'm alive.
You know what? Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about this car accident because I was in New York last week, so I don't know what's going on.
This is what my legs look like from my ankles to my hips, and fucked up my head, my shoulder, my back, and my hip. It was Mother's Day. I was driving home from getting my nails done because it's the only thing
that you do, that you love,
that I got for Mother's Day was something for myself.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, that's for another time.
Yep.
And I'm driving home, and this dude slams on his brake and stops in the middle of the road. There's nothing else around. He stops suddenly, and I went to brake, and my flip-flops that I was wearing that I had to go to the nail salon slipped right off the brake, and I plowed right into him. And nothing really is wrong with his car, maybe a little bumper damage, but mine may be totaled.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. So did you have whiplash? Like, are you okay?
Yeah, I might have had a concussion. I definitely had whiplash. And that airbag hit me in the face.
The airbag popped?
All of them. So I am cut up and bruised from head to toe because of the airbags. And I don't think you can see it anymore, but I cut right here. I'm a little bit bruised still here. But it was fun times. But I found this amazing guy on TikTok of all places.
Okay.
That is a psychic and healer, and he does a whole bunch of other things. And I reached out to him a while ago, and I've been talking to him about doing a TV series on him.
Nice.
And when he called me the other day, I told him, I said, I had a really bad car accident. I'm in a lot of pain. And he said, my business partner is also a healer, and we wanted to give you some free sessions so that you could see how it works. And we're going to do a healing on you. So they're doing that tonight after the show.
I'm so excited.
I'll keep you posted on how it goes.
Yes, I want to know. I want to know. Okay, so I was in New York last week.
Yes.
The conference was amazing. I'm a little exhausted. No disrespect to any New Yorkers that listen, but I have to tell you, like, sleeping there for the amount of time I was there with the sirens and the loud and the loud and the loud, and then coming home, I feel like I have to rest from being there because it was a lot. And I go there so much. I don't know why it was.
Your hotel room, was it good windows? Were you still hearing it inside the hotel?
Oh, well, all the hotels in New York, no matter how luxury you are very small. Like, they're boutique style. So I stay at the same hotel in Manhattan pretty much all the time. Yeah. And it's not the cheapest location. It's a boutique, beautiful space, but it's in Manhattan. So there's
interesting, because when I went to Manhattan, it wasn't loud at all.
I was going to tell you, there was so much going on. Like, the Trump trial was going on. So there was a ton of people. There were protesters, so there was a ton of people. The Knicks were playing. It's the playoffs, so that it was just.
My friend Angela is a chef for one of the Knicks players. OG. Yeah. And she's private chef for him. She cooks for him every day.
Well, there were a lot of people ready to see them play, and it was bananas. But I'm glad to be here.
Yay. I'm glad to have you back. We had a really good episode last week, and Christina is always awesome to cover in a pinch. And we had a good time. We missed you, though.
I know. I listened to it on Saturday, and it sounded really good. So
she gave us really good readings.
Yeah. I'm so mad I didn't get a reading, but it's fine.
You are reading, though.
Well, I need a reading after my day, which we'll talk about offline. But yes.
Yeah, fuck clients.
I mean, I would never say that out loud, but
I will.
It's been a day. It's been a day. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah.
I'm gonna just be dealing with the car shit for a while, I think, and figuring out if it's going to be totaled or not, and dealing with the car rental because they didn't add the car rental to my insurance that I asked for 3 years ago, thinking I'm paying for it all this time, and it's not there. So it's costing me quite a bit, and this is not a good time. But I do have fantastic news before we move on for the show.
Yes, and I hope it's about documentaries.
Yes.
I knew.
I got a text last night from George, and they are funding the doc. We are getting our money to shoot it. Yep.
Oh, I'm going to travel the world with you. I'm just going to be in your pocket.
Like, let me in my pocket.
Just be in your pocket.
Yeah, we
congratulations, boo.
Our hope is that we're going to be filming in like July or August. I'm hoping like mid to late July. That's
okay.
And
you'll be in Kentucky, right?
First, we're going to be in Kentucky for 2 weeks. And, no, the whole shooting period should be about 2 weeks. So we'll probably be in Kentucky a little over 8. It will probably be there 8 days. And then the other 5, 4, I don't know. It's 2 weeks shooting.
Okay.
My brain has not been working properly since I had my accident.
Because it was shaken up.
Yep. Once we shoot in Kentucky, then we're going to go and shoot in Florida. We have like 3 or 4 people to film in Florida. So.
Okay. Lovely. Well, congratulations, my love. I'm so excited. And we have our own project that we have to talk about because I've got some details for that also. So
yeah, let's plan that.
Good.
Well, today is going to be a good show. We have on a longtime listener. We met him at Clubhouse. He wrote 2 bios. One about him, one about me and him.
Oh,
do you want to hear the fake one first, or do you want to hear the fake one last?
You know what? I want to hear the fake one now.
Okay. I'm going to read the fake one and then I'll read the real one. Okay. This is Phil's sense of humor. And I'm only reading it because he can be quite the little sassy guy. So I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Our distinguished guest, Phil Kahn, is someone I met and instantly fell in love with last year on Clubhouse. His incredible charm, wit, and boyish good looks had me swooning from the very start like a lovesick teenager.
I think I remember that.
I would date him in a minute if it weren't for the fact that my long and storied history of shitty relationships would come to a screeching halt, leaving me no reason to continue this very podcast. Instead, I welcomed him to the show today to share with us the heartwarming story of hope, patience, faith, expansion, and undying love. Okay, Phil.
Okay, Phil. But you know what? I will say I'm so excited to have Phil on because he is our biggest supporter. And
he really
is so amazing, and I'm so excited to like meet him kind of like now in this space. So I'm excited. And
Let me tell you about real Phil.
real feel. Yes.
Real Phil. He is a native of Saratoga Springs, New York. He's a marketing professional currently in between jobs and pursuing his dream of acting. He recently landed the lead role of Paul Michaels, the host of a supernatural themed podcast who gets caught up with the wrong crowd in a suspense movie produced by Phantasma Productions. Anyway, Phil, a self-described pop culture geek, is a host of Phil's Pop Culture Podcast. In his spare time, Phil enjoys spiritual pursuits such as meditation and oracle card reading. He also dabbles in ghost hunting, I can't read, autograph collecting, and much more. His current passion project is a book he's writing about the unexpected and enduring love affair we'll be discussing on today's episode. It's titled Whispers of Forever, A Story of Eternal Love. He presently lives in Wilton, New York with his 4-year-old cat, Chloe. Let's bring Phil on and have a little chit chat. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Jada. Hi, Christine. Great to be here.
Great to
Oh,
have
Phil, I just love you, love you, love you, love you.
Yeah,
I love you right back.
We adore you, and we're really thrilled that you support us each week. You come and listen, and you put in your 2 cents, which we love. Yeah. And we really find this. I do want to say that I find this very brave of you to come on to a show like this and talk about this heartbreak that you had, where your girlfriend passed away. And tell us her name.
Her name was Mikan, and she lived in Arizona. And it's been about 1.5 years since she passed. So thank you for saying that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is heartbreaking to lose someone you really love. And it's one thing to have a breakup and lose them and learn to move on. It's another when they pass away and, there's no closure. So that's really a hard thing, and we really do appreciate you coming on. Country Corners Gazette says, we're sorry for your loss, condolences. We thank you for that.
Thank
so
you.
Tell us your story, Phil. How did you and Mike meet? How long were you seeing each other? What was happening, and how did it come about that she passed away?
Well, of course, and you mentioned this in the opening, Christine, the 3 of us met on Clubhouse in a lot of the rooms you were doing, like dating advice rooms and so on. Mikan and I actually met on Clubhouse as well. It was in April of 2022, and in my bio, it says that I like oracle card reading. Well, it was Mikan that turned me on to that. She was an intuitive, a medium, an oracle card reader, and she was doing a free oracle card reading room that day. And I went into the room thinking, oh, might be fun to get a reading. And immediately what I do, and I'm sure everybody does this, is kind of checks out the profiles of the people. It's got the little picture up in the top left corner, and then you can click on the picture and they have the bio. And immediately I was like, ooh, she's kind of cute. And then I'm listening to her give readings, and she just seems so sweet. So I'm thinking, ooh, cute and sweet. I like that. So I said, I really need to get up on stage and get a reading from her. When I got up on stage, finally, I hadn't realized she had been doing the room for like 2 hours and was getting ready to close it. So she said, Phil, I'll give you 2 choices. You can either have the last reading now or the first one the next time I do a room. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want her to rush through. I want to kind of get to know her. I told her I'll take the first reading in the next room. So the next room, it was April 30th. Yes, I have this all down on paper. April 30th, 2022. I went in for a reading, and it was fantastic. She was so wonderful. But at the end, we happened to mention romance and relationships. I wasn't going to go there, but she mentioned it. And she said, I sense that you may be in a twin flame relationship. No, are you too familiar with the term twin flame?
Yeah.
See, I had heard it, but I always used it interchangeably with soulmate. I just thought it was kind of one and the same, and it's not.
Very different.
And she told me, So she was kind of educating me on what a twin flame is. And she said, you know what? Twin flames isn't always lovey-dovey, unicorns and rainbows. They can be very volatile. And she said, and the reason why I know that is because I'm on my own twin flame journey. And I'm thinking, whoa, back up. She's on her own twin flame journey. Oh man, that means she has a guy in her life. So I was like immediately bummed. And it's funny because if you listen to the recording of the show, and they still have it on Clubhouse, you can hear like me deflating as I hear that. I'm pretending like, oh, you've got a boyfriend, isn't that nice? It's like a balloon deflating. You can hear the wind go out of my sails. But when she explained her relationship with the guy, the twin flame relationship, it seemed really, really tumultuous, like they were on again, off again, on again, off again. So I'm thinking, well, don't write her off that quickly. Maybe they'll be off again permanently. So I've got to keep tabs on this woman, which I did. I decided to get like a paid reading from her. And I have to admit, I only did it so I could continue to engage her. And the probe, like, okay, who's this guy? This guy named Robert. That's not his real name. I'm changing the name to protect the innocent here. So in my, I did it under the guise of, I would love a real reading, when what I really meant is, I want to spend more time with you. I want to get to know you better. I want to find out who this Robert is and see if he's in or out of the picture and go from there. Well, unfortunately, the reading was wonderful, but she was really stuck on Robert. And we talked a lot about Robert. I didn't want to talk about Robert. Well, we talked a lot about Robert. But you know what? It was a blessing in disguise that Robert existed, because immediately I had to transition to the friend zone. And we became very, very tight, very, very close. And I don't think it would have worked out that way if she was available and I started pursuing her. I wasn't trying to win her over. I wasn't trying to impress her, being overly suave, sophisticated, funny. Not that I'm not that anyway, but I could just be me and she could just be her, no hidden agendas. And we became very, very close. And I'll stop to land my plane there for a second. Obviously, the story continues. But if you have any questions or comments, please jump in.
So how long was this relationship where you were just talking on the phone, or were you video chatting as well and becoming friends?
Yes, we video chatted a lot. We talked on the phone pretty much every day. It was, let's see, April, May, June, July, about 4 months. We were really getting to know each other. And a lot of our conversations were about Robert. And it got to the point where you could tell Robert is, and I'm not just saying this because I was interested in her. Robert was kind of, not the greatest person in the world, really treated her callously, ignored her a lot, gaslit her, ghosted her a lot. So, but I'm glad I was there to be able to lend her a shoulder to cry on. And of course, I'm thinking to myself, well, would you just dump him and come in my direction? That's what I was thinking.
Well, so I have a question. Were you guys were clearly in two different states.
I'm in New York. She was in Arizona. It's like 3,000 miles away. I went on Google Maps. I think it's like an 8-hour flight, a 27-hour car ride, or an 832-day walk away from each other.
Well, in different time zones as well.
Yes.
So how did that work out?
Well, there's enough pockets of time where you can talk. Yes, she was like 3 hours behind, but we figured it out. We made it work.
So how did you start transitioning from friends to falling for each other?
Well, it was August, so that's 4 months in. She let me know that she was going to Punta Cana in the Dominican. I think it's Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. She was going on vacation, and she said to me, well, I told Robert, and Robert doesn't seem to care. I was almost hoping Robert would say, hey, I want to go along, but he didn't. Meanwhile, I said, I want you to contact me every day. I want to know what's going on. I want pictures. And that's what happened. She sent me a bunch of pictures, blah, 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 blah. But at the time when she came back, she said, you know what? My stomach's been hurting a lot. She said, I almost backed out of the trip because I just wasn't feeling well, but I'm glad I pushed through it. I wasn't in a lot of pain, but it was kind of bothersome, but I didn't let it get in the way of having a fun, nice vacation. But when she got back, Robert never asked, never was in contact with her, never said, hey, how was it? Never said, hey, welcome back. None of that. Meanwhile, I was happy to have her back. I wanted to hear all her stories. And so it sounded like a wonderful trip. The only downside was that, her stomach had been hurting. Well, I'll fast forward ahead a little bit. Her stomach started hurting more and more. And I'll cut to the chase. Eventually, a few weeks afterwards, she went in for an exploratory procedure, and they discovered she had stage 3 ovarian cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, she calls up Robert, and Robert pretty much said, good luck with that. See ya. And I say he bailed. I always use the term, he just bailed. And she called me, and of course I was very concerned. And she said, Phil, I'm going to face this bravely. I'm going to choose love over fear as I deal with this. But she said, but between you and me, it would have been nice to have somebody in my life at this point. She said, like right now, my back is hurting. If I had a significant other here, I would ask him, can you please rub my back and whisper sweet nothings in my ear and cheer me up? And she said, it's hard not having anybody here to help me through this. And it was in that moment that I decided I'm going to jump in with both feet and play like the de facto boyfriend role. I don't want her going through this alone. I'm going to be there by her side every step of the way. And that's what happened.
So did you go to Arizona or she come to you?
Now that's interesting. You'd think I would hop on the first plane out there. But think about it for a second. I've known her for 4 months. For most of that time, we've been buddies. She's been interested in Robert. So it's not like, we were in love at that point. So I hopped on a plane and went out there. She was getting worse and worse. She had her adult son taking care of her, but he was finding it difficult. They were butting heads a lot. He was taking on a lot. And at one point, she just kind of jokingly said, Phil, why don't you come out here and take care of me? Now, again, in hindsight, you'd think, wait, if this is a love story, Phil must have hopped on a plane right out there and took care of her. But first of all, I'm not a nursemaid. I'm not,
Yeah.
Also had her family there taking care of her. So all of a sudden, this guy from Clubhouse shows up out of the blue to take. And I asked my brother's sitting behind me listening to the show right now. I asked my brother, I said, Steve, I haven't told you about this woman, Mike, in Arizona. She was a friend at first, but I've kind of developed feelings. And I told him the whole story that I just told you. I said, do you think it'd be crazy for me to fly out and take care of this person while she's sick? And he said, yes, absolutely. You'd be nuts. That's crazy. And so I did not go out to take care of her. I never met her in person. We fell in love and we never met in person. Now, on its surface, you're like, oh, then that wasn't anything real. Believe me, it was very real.
Well, Phil, people fall in love, by video, by phone. They fall in love with the person and their personality and their whatever that makes them them. I do believe that you can fall in love with somebody.
Absolutely.
I do know that sometimes it changes when you meet in person. Who's to say that it wouldn't have? Did you ever meet in person?
Never met in person.
Who's to say that it would have or wouldn't have worked? But, I do have to say it was admirable of you to be there for her every day in the sense that you were, because, that's not easy. I mean, half the guys in LA, if they're texting or calling you and trying to date you, I mean, nobody's ever consistent,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I do understand where you're coming from.
I also think that there's so much, and this is me putting my matchmaker hat on. But I think there's so much to be said for an emotional connection, which I think, especially in today's day and time when it's a texting society and everything is so different than what it used to be. There's something so beautiful about connecting emotionally. And so I think that's incredible, especially that you guys had never met, but yet you had this incredible, amazing bond. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Jada.
Your
Yeah,
story.
Country Corners Gazette, someone there said, you don't have to be in person to be in a relationship. And
Yes.
that's true. I mean, people have long distance relationships all over the world. I mean,
Mhm.
there's such a,
Mhm.
there's such a thing as 90 Day Fiance. They fall in love and
Yeah.
they move and they're together. I think that there's many places that you can, find love long distance. I had a client that they met long distance. They dated long distance. They were engaged long distance. They got married. He stayed in Texas and she stayed here, and they lived long distance, as a married couple for years.
Wow.
And Misty even says it's a non-physical relationship. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think that non-physical relationships can develop stronger emotional ties because sometimes the physical can get in the way,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not, I don't discount anything that you went through, Phil. I think that feelings can be just as strong, if not stronger, long distance,
I love that. Well, and you have something special that was just between the two of you, because no one knows your conversations. No one knows what those late nights were, how you helped her heal through certain things. So I think there's something so beautiful to be said about that as well, because that's something special that you both can kind of hold sacred, that no one will ever be in tune with. So
I agree. I agree with that. And it's interesting. And we did grow very close. But of course, well, first of all, taking a step back, if I were telling me this story, it would be very easy for me to discount. It's like they didn't even meet in person. Well, that's not a real relationship. Well, I've learned you can get very close because we did. Now, the same token, the human side of me was like, so now that I've jumped in and Robert's out of the picture, does that kind of make me her boyfriend? Well, how do I handle that? But she's sick. We both threw all that out the window. We didn't try to put any labels on the relationship. Here's what happened. I decided, as I said, I'm jumping in with both feet. I'm going to pour my love into her fully and completely. She's going to accept it fully and completely. She was so grateful. And I'm going to be there by her side. We don't need to define what the hell this is. We just need to give and receive love. And I always use the phrase poured into her. I poured every ounce of love I had into her. And what we had was very, very special.
that's beautiful.
I'm going to tell you that I don't like to admit this because he turned out to be not who he said he was.
I know.
But I did meet someone off of Clubhouse only because he reached out to me and said, hey, you're a producer, director. I have a project I'd like to talk to you about. We spent 3 months on the phone every day for at least 8 hours working on the production. And in between all of that, before and after all that, we would have hours of conversation talking about our lives and who we were. And I think I got to know him incredibly deeply. But again, if someone's lying about certain things, there's only so much you can get from that. I did wind up meeting him and I did realize he was not quite who he said he was. But it doesn't discount that for 3 months, I fell head over heels for this guy. And so I think it is possible, So, what you felt is real, and nobody can take that from you.
Thank you for saying that.
So when when it came to the ending, I hate to say this because it's heartbreaking to me. This whole story is so beautiful, by the way, and thank you, Phil, for sharing.
Thank you.
How did you know? Did someone reach out to you? Had you gained a relationship with the family because you guys had become so mentally and emotionally connected? Or what did that, how did you know? Like, what did that look like?
Well, she started a thread on one of the social media apps where she would update people on, like, I just had surgery yesterday, it went well, or She had an intestinal blockage where it was hard for her to eat. So she would update people on that. When she started getting more and more ill, her kids, who are all adult children, started taking over, giving folks updates. So all along the way, I knew what was going on. And the toughest thing, well, to cut right to the chase, she ended up passing away on December 13th of 2022, only 8 months after I met her. Only, let's see, August, September, October, November, only
That
4
went
months
fast.
since yes, very fast. And that's the one surprising thing. Everybody thought she was going to beat it. She was only 48. She was very healthy. 48. It went like that.
That's my age.
I'm sorry. Yes.
So
yeah.
I do want to go back a second because I am curious about once you guys started talking more and more about developing something together, being there for each other. Did you guys start saying you loved each other? Were things like that being said? What was that like?
We use the term love a lot, but it wasn't in like you mean you love me like I'm your boyfriend? No, again, we threw all that out the window. I just said, I love you so much. I'm here for you. And she said, I love you so much. But it's not necessarily defined in the, hey, romantic relationship kind of love. It was just pure, unadulterated. You need me. I need you. We're very close. We are helping each other. That's what love meant. And we expressed our love all the time. But we never said, hey, does this officially make it? Now, don't get me wrong. I often thought of that. It's like, yeah, it's nice to say that I'm just pouring my love into her. And isn't that sweet? But, again, it's like, well, how do I refer to her? Do I consider her a girl? And to this day, I'm not quite sure how to define it because we never consummated the relationship. We didn't meet in person. We didn't go out on dates. We didn't live together. We had none of that. That could have not worked out. Who knows? That's why it's a mystery. And that's when I'm writing a book about our story together, because you'd think, okay, she passed away December 13th. That's the end of the story. Well, actually, it was just the beginning of the story.
Nice. Okay.
Oh my God. I don't know how spiritual you guys are. I never have been hugely spiritual, but she was. She's with me all the time. I get signs and messages. She's opened up doors. She's my guiding angel right now. I'm convinced of it.
I love
and
it.
It's the kind of thing where she has a friend who's a channeler, and you may or not believe it, but the channeler friend contacted me out of the blue a couple of days after Mikan passed and said, I have a channeled message for you from Mikan. And of course, at first I'm like, I don't even know this person, this channeler. This is kind of weird. I didn't know. But the message to me was, Mikan was so grateful for the love I poured into her at the end and the fact that she didn't have to die alone. She wants to pay it back by watching over you if you're interested. If you are, light a candle for 5 straight nights, and she will stay with you as your guardian angel. And you may be able to see it over my shoulder here. I've got a little shrine here to Mike, and there's a little candle right there, and I got a picture. And oh my God, it's been incredible. The first thing I did was I said, Mikan, I want you to send me some kind of sign that you made it safely to the other side and you're going to be okay. I said, but don't make it like something nebulous that like you could interpret 100 different ways. Make it something that's undoubtedly from you. And I said, I know, I was on Facebook and I was scrolling through and somebody had posted a meme that sounded like something that she might say, and it had a picture of a cardinal on it. So I said, okay, Mikan, I want you to send me a cardinal. That's your message. Now, I wasn't necessarily meaning I wanted an actual cardinal to show up. Here it was mid-December. I live in Northeast New York. It's freezing up here. It was like 10 below. I hadn't seen a bird in months. I think I saw a cardinal maybe once, maybe twice in the 20 plus years I've lived at my apartment. Well, the next morning I woke up and the cat is sitting by the sliding glass door that leads out onto my second floor deck. And you can tell she's like kind of sleuthing around, looking at some prey. And I'm like, Chloe, what are you looking at? And I look into the bush that's sitting outside my deck. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. What's sitting on the branch? A cardinal.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And now I see cardinals all the time, like all the time. And when I need some kind of guidance, boom, a cardinal. And it's just to remind me that she's there. And I've got 100 other examples, and I won't bore you with all of them. But to get back to your original question about, defining the love between us, and that's one of the reasons I'm writing this book. The book isn't like, hey, here's my love story. The book is, hey, here's my story. I'm not sure how to interpret it. Gee, how do you interpret it? Do you think that two people could never meet yet fall in love? Do you think what we had was love, or just two people that needed each other at that moment and it was what it was? Build in that spiritual piece. I think that's even more interesting than the other thing is just kind of like, oh, she was sick, I was there, I lent a hand. That's not that unusual. It's the stuff since her passing that maybe where the actual interesting part of the story is. But so I'm still to this day not, and I was actually hoping that this book would make it clearer for me about what we shared. And I think we fell in love, and that's what I'm going with. And as Jada said, only she and I were privy to what we talked about, how close we got. So if Jada, you're thinking, oh, that wasn't real love. Well, only she and I could decide it.
Not
and
at all.
I'm going with love.
I'm going with love.
I'm going with love. I think because I've been in the matchmaking and dating and relationship space for 10 years, I'm familiar, and there's something so beautiful and so sentimental and so special that sometimes people share that can't be expressed to other people. So no, I think that you guys shared something special that we may never know. And I think it's beautiful that you're choosing to write it in a book. I think that's amazing. And pay attention to the signs, Phil.
Yes.
Always pay attention to the signs.
Thank you, Jada.
Everybody says it sounds like
thank you, Country Corner.
Misty says that the stories are what we want to hear. This is the thing, Phil. I'm hearing that her cancer didn't come out of nowhere just in August. She obviously didn't know about it earlier, but her guides, her angels, they did. And my feelings and thoughts about it, because I am intuitive and I do have my own things, my own psychic abilities, my own whatever. Mine tells me that I really think that they brought you to her because she needed somebody there. And whether you were physically there or not, you were emotionally and you were mentally, and in a sense, if you guys were, video chatting and on the phone, you were also physically in her ear and comforting her and being her best fucking friend. And that, you can have a soulmate in many, many ways. And, you were obviously there for her for a reason, and the universe brought you to her. And even if it was Clubhouse or whatever, and I'm sure it brought her comfort and joy every time that you guys, just even thinking about you being there for her. I'm pretty sure that that's how she would feel, because if she didn't feel that way, her last days, why would she spend them on the phone or video chatting with you? Do you know what I mean? It's like she wouldn't have if she didn't really love it, enjoy it, and need it. And this is her way now. I see it as paying you back, being there for you, letting you know what it meant to her, letting you know that she will, be there for you in the same way that you were there for her. And you never know. Phil, I just heard that maybe she is going to lead in your love. Maybe
she's already indicated that. Yes.
See?
Wow.
Yes.
I'm pretty good.
You're very good. That was really good. Well, first of all, I could go on and on and on about this. You'll have to read the book to hear the whole story. But
Yes.
when I was first told, I did go to a friend of mine named Bridget, who may be in the audience right now. And I talked to others. And the word on the street is that when I cross over to the other side, if I want it to be this way, Mikan will be the first to greet me. Then you apparently go through a life review. She said she would lead me through my life review. Then, of course, we have a choice, apparently, or maybe not, of choosing our next incarnation, if you believe as such. Do we want to come back to Earth? Do we want to go somewhere else? Do we want to be a man, a woman, an animal? I always felt like I've been cheated. You know, the human side of me, I feel very blessed that I met Mike, and I'm very blessed that she's my guardian angel. I'm blessed that I had a chance to pour my love into her and that she accepted it fully, wholeheartedly. But I feel a little cheated. Like, come on, God, or the universe, come on. I've been waiting 58 years for somebody to come into my life. You finally bring me somebody, and then you take her right away. I felt robbed, and it's like, I need something to make up for that. Well, I've been told that when it comes time to choose my next incarnation, instead of me deciding, Mike said we can choose together where we go and what the scenario is. And if we want to be married for 1,000 years in the next iteration, then we'll have that. So I don't have to worry about what I think I missed out on.
I know what you mean by feeling that you've been cheated, but I also feel that you haven't been cheated at all, because she showed you how to love. And you had the experience of I know you enough, Phil, to know that if you fell for this girl, you fell wholeheartedly. And to be there for her during that time, it is, a testament to how deeply you felt for her. So you were not cheated in a sense that you were given an opportunity to love and learn. Whereas if she hadn't come into your life, you wouldn't have had that. And I think that you were brought in for this very reason. I don't think that it was because she was meant to be here with you forever. On the other side, yes. But do you know what I mean? I think that we're given lessons to learn. Like, I did not think I was going to be able to love somebody. And quite frankly, what I felt for Toolbag from Clubhouse, what I did feel love for him. I really felt deeply. And if it had been the real thing, it would have been a whole nother story. But it showed me that I was capable.
Ooh.
And it sent me on a journey for self-discovery and reflection. And it's changed who I am. And I know that I am capable of love. And I'm sure you've learned now that you're capable of love. And I know that you guys may have an opportunity to be together, once you've left this dimension and go to the next. But part of me feels like she might be sending someone your way in this lifetime.
Interesting you should say that. Now, it's funny because I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I don't want somebody else. Wouldn't that be kind of like cheating on her? Or I can't believe she'd want me to have somebody. Wouldn't she be jealous? It's like, Phil, that's not how this works. Don't you think Mikan would like you to be happy now? She apparently is going to line up a whole bunch of women for me, and I'm going to have my pick of the litter, apparently. I said, no. Maybe I'll take one. You don't need to send me 15 of them. But but getting back to one important thing, she taught me what love is. I thought I knew what love is. I thought love is a feeling you get from somebody, like, oh, Jada's really sweet. I'm kind of digging on her. Or, oh, Christina's really pretty. I'm kind of digging on her. It's not how you feel about something. It's what you give to something. Real love is what happened in my dynamic with her.
Yeah.
Just staying in touch,
Absolutely.
giving her attention, giving her love. That's what love is. It's a gesture. It's not a feeling.
So you just answered that. You learned something from this.
Absolutely.
You gained also an ally on the other side who's looking after you and supporting you. I think that if you open your heart and maybe have a conversation with her saying, thank you for everything that I've learned through you. I am so excited that you are here and that I've got, Country Corners, unconditional love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just say you're
Yeah.
open for that next chapter of your life. And if someone is meant to be in it, you are ready. And so maybe open that up and see what happens.
Yeah.
You
know what, Phil?
Thank you.
I think that, well, I'm such a lover of love, which is why I do what I do. But I think, how amazing is it that you have experienced this incredible joy and this incredible partnership with somebody from a mental capacity? How beautiful will it be when you have that connection with someone that you can pour yourself into every single day? She probably taught you vulnerability and communication and just trust, like the insurmountable amount of trust that you guys probably had.
Absolutely.
So think about how beautiful that will be. I mean, it's so heartbreaking that you had to go through that, but at the same time, it's almost like she's your guardian angel watching over you. And she's prepared you for this next phase of an incredible relationship.
I agree. Thank you for saying that.
I'm not going to poo-poo the fact that if you had met, that you wouldn't have, really grown even deeper in love and been together. But, it wasn't meant for that.
Yes.
I really know that it wasn't meant for that. And because of that, you've learned so much more from that relationship than you could have ever done from a physical relationship.
Yeah.
And it can maybe help lead you into the next journey, the next chapter of your relationship with somebody, leading with love, support, mental, emotional. You've obviously shown that you can be supportive in a time of need. And, it may help grow that next relationship even stronger.
Thank you for saying that. I definitely agree with all of that. She's well prepared me. I look at love differently. I look at death differently. I used to be scared of death. Now I'm convinced that I know. I also understand more about soul contracts that we sign before we come here. We come here to learn something. Somewhere, the iteration of Phil, this soul, not this meat body, this soul chose to come here and connect with her and lose her to learn more. And I've learned a heck of a lot. And again, in my more human moments, I'm like, oh yeah, but man, come on. But in my more spiritual moments, it's like, how blessed am I to have being able to learn all these lessons and more to come. And she's with me.
Yeah. Well, you had said a minute ago, you had said something about, would she be upset or whatever? They don't experience the same emotional, things that we do on the other side.
In the flesh.
Yeah. There's no jealousy. There's no judgment. There's none of that.
No. There's no hate. There's no, it's just pure love and joy. And, Oh, Phil.
Thank you.
Your story is really...
If you want the whole story, I'm 99% of the way through writing my book. And I'm actually going to mention you two in the book in this appearance. So be looking out for that. Yay!
Well, let us know when your book is ready, where we can get it. When it is done, please keep us informed. We will happily promote it on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even though I've been nothing but a pain in your neck.
On my radar. Phil,
Thank you.
Always keeping you on my radar.
You're not a pain in the neck. I love you. I think that you're really awesome. And I think you're one of the best things that came out of the whole Clubhouse thing.
Absolutely.
Aw, thank you. I agree.
Awesome. We
You're awesome
appreciate
too. I
you.
love you guys. I love this show. I'm so
Thank
grateful
you.
I had the opportunity to be on here today.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
thank
Well,
you.
when we first were talking to you about coming on, you'd had a little bit of a struggle and you decided not to. And I'm really glad that you took the time to
Yes.
decide to, because I think that this is a really beautiful story. And we're almost out of time, but I just want to say that love is so much more than fucking physical.
Oh,
And
yes.
you have been a testament to that today, and that is very special, and it should be honored and talked about. So thank you for coming on today and joining us and
Yeah.
telling us about this and giving people hope that, you know, even long distance relationships can make it. So
Thank you for
Absolutely.
sharing your story, Phil. Thank you
Yes.
so
Thank you
much.
for letting me tell it, Christine and Jada. Much love to both of you.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
thank you.
So thank you everyone for coming today. We really appreciate every time you come and join us. Everybody who comes and comments, you're our heroes. Thank you. If anybody ever has an idea for a show, you're welcome to email us. Please do
Yeah.
so. And in the meantime, Jada and I will be back next week, same time, same place. And until then, let's keep this shit real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.
Okay.